Hi, Mr. Prince here once again, and today I want to talk to you about something I love to talk about, which is solo leveling. More specifically, the difference between the light novel and the webtoon. Most people have only seen the webtoon. I read the light novel earlier this year. I think that was around January. It was lovely. It was a lovely read, and it's like you see like there's so much richness in it. So I wanted to. I thought of making a video to compare the two. This video act as less like a prologue or like an episode zero. So it's just a video I'll be doing later down the line, which will mostly depend on you. But more about that at the end of the video. So today I'll be answering the question: should you read the light novel? So let's get started. Part one: character development. Alright. Character development. There are more character development in the light novel as I've seen it than the web novel. It's so much more richer with interactions and all that makes you know like the way characters think and the way characters are in a particular situation. Most especially Son Jin-woo is the main character of the series, and I find it very weird that some of his ideologies are missing, some of his perceptions are missing, or sometimes just glossed over altogether entirely, which is weird in my opinion. I'm like, why are they doing that? But then again, I understand in some instances that you can't always put those kind of those kind of stuffs inside the story as they kind of slow down the story, but just mindless story, we just mindless stories. We could have done this with ways of visual cues and all, just to give it more in depth to the guide. Because later down the line, especially where we are currently in the story, it's going to be needed. As soon as this current arc they're showing is over, the next arc is where his ideology starts to come in play when he becomes a major player on the world stage. Chai is also one other character too that is missing, or character her character is not really well developed. But then again, there are still more times to develop her character because she has a lot of time to shine in the spotlight. She has still has several story arcs ahead of her where she's still important to, which I'm looking forward to actually. I'm also looking forward to a particular arc which I don't want to spoil. I'm trying to keep this video as spoiler free as possible. But there'll be some smidge bit of spoiler just sprinkled right there, but trying to keep it to a minimum. Character interactions. The solo leveling web novel has more detailed character interaction in my opinion. They are just so richer and full of more content and more context to things, because the webtoon sometimes misleads you on several things. Like you have the character interaction with Jinwoo and the Ila, which was taken out of context and made it seem like there was a real budding romance there. Whereas it wasn't really like that. There was Jinwoo and the doctor, and then you had Jinwoo and the demon girl. All these three characters interaction that I mentioned here, the other character interaction I don't talk about yet, but all the character interaction that I mentioned here, they actually go to show Jinwoo's perception, especially with women, and they show his perceptiveness to notice something is up, but he doesn't actually know what it is. He's kind of oblivious to people's feeling just because of his knee deep into his work or his hunterness or his solo leveling, basically. Visuals and detail. The solo leveling webtoon is rich with visuals and details, and this is the best selling point it has. It's just so good. Ah, God. Hey, I'm sure if you've ever read Solo Leveling Webtoon, which I don't know what you're doing on this video, if you've never read Solo Leveling, go and start right away. It's really, really, really awesome. It has like one of the best, let me say, best artistic drawing I've seen in a while, if not even the best in Webtoon in general. In case you need any other better one, tell me in the comment section below. But it's one of the best I've seen in a long, long time. Actually, that sounded very weird because I'm not just saying, oh my God. It's one of the best I've seen so far. For me, I actually feel that if they're going to do an animation of solo leveling, which is surely going to come out at one point in time, it has to be at least the standard of the web comic, unless they've done a great disservice to that series. Yes, that's to reach high notes on every other stuff in action and everything, but if the quality is not as high as that of the stuff, they shouldn't try to produce at all. So it needs to be an high budget series, so they're going to take it seriously as much as the fans take Solo Leveling seriously. So let me talk about some details in Solo Leveling. Basically, Solo Leveling, the only three characters were ever described like visually, and then the monarchs. Okay, I don't think you know who the monarchs are yet, but like the monarchs, just are the people that ever described in full details. This gives the webtoon like free space to design characters based on their ideology, their personality, and based on their interaction later on. What though I do find some they do make some mistakes sometimes. Okay, not sometimes. Just try that. I've noticed that some things were weird, but just ones that is actually major that's actually should actually be a mistake. The latest one of latest chapters, when he went to get me the guys from the American Bureau of the Hunter Organization in America, there are two characters that look alike. They only had different hair color, which was weird. And the weirdest thing again is that they stood beside each other, and I don't know why they did that, because there was no reason why they should have done that. And then director of the Hunter, based on his actions later on, I feel they could have got a different look for him based on what he's going to be doing later on. But then again, I guess I guess that's just then to show they're going to use that to show how dire the situation is later on. The webtoon has great storytelling. Environmental storytelling, like the best example I can think of right now is the ant trade. When you read the light novel, they talk about the ant trade and the way they're going to pay for the ant trade. But like when you read the webtoons, there's just so much richness and content that goes into the ant trade. There's stuff that goes on in the background that be like, okay, this makes sense that it's actually here. Like the warships, those kind of things. They were missing from the light novel, and they were there, and they made the story so much more rich. They added so many layers of content to it that makes you like this country was actually mobilized. It made you feel like the country was actually mobilizing for war, not just the hunters that were just going out to go and clear the raid. They did talk about the German signal and all, but it was not as much as this. And they did some interesting things too, like like what's not this Japanese guy. Oh God, what is his name? Another guy before. Okay, I'm sure you know the guy's name. The strongest Japanese hunter. When he came on board, when he came on board, they showed like the characters there. That stuff was not in the web knowledge. They just mentioned the number of hunters he came with, and then they let everything, and then they just talked about everything. But then in the comic, they didn't do that. They talked about the numbers. They talked about the hunters. They gave each of them detailed story. Not all of them, but at least most of them were given detailed their powers and ability, their stuff. They talked about the healer, which was among them, which was just beautiful. And then they did it such a way that they still get to use the hunters later on in the story, unlike the way that was done in the light novel, which I'll talk about when I start my series and I get there. When I talk to the Ant-Raid arc, I'll talk about it. So make sure you tell me what you want at the end of the video. In the Ant-Raid arc, when they did that stuff, it was just so lovely because I knew that okay, this is playing for the arc after this current arc. Or is that how it goes? Sorry, let me remember this very well. This current arc, this is the when they are clearing the dungeon. I'm not sure if it's the next arc or the arc after that, but I'm certain it is the next arc. Now I'm confused. Oh yeah, it is the next arc. Yeah, it's the next arc. The two stories I'm confusing together. They are blended together in one arc. But like I said, the arc is divided into like two sub arcs. Just the way several things go on in a particular arc in Solo Leveling. They have like two different stories going on at the same time, but in like Badla in Solo Leveling, and then they always integrate together. Not always, but actually that'll be the trend going down the line. They've already started that trend currently, so they'll go carry that trend most times down the line. Jim will always be doing something else will be happening, and then those two stories will clash. Okay, thank you for tuning in today. I know you are expecting much more, but I'm making a series, I'm making a series soon about this. So, which is what I want to clarify from you guys. What you want me to be making? Should I be making more solo leveling content, which is what I really want to do? But I want to do this. I want to do this straight to the end of season 1 of where we are currently at the story. Or should I make more content on solo leveling, like weapons and abilities, and other things, other rich miscellaneous stuffs? And if you want to keep helping the channel, please share this video, like, and tell a friend about it. Solo Leveling is awesome. Oh yeah. Okay, now before I go, let me answer your question. Should you read the Solo Leveling web novel? In my opinion, no. You shouldn't actually read the Solo Leveling web novel if you are still enjoying the webtoon, because it just takes away from the joy of enjoying the webtoons. Yes, the webtoons has its issues here and there, but it don't take away with the visuals. The visuals alone is enough to enjoy it. But if you can't wait, or advise reading something else, I'll give you this the Emperor of Solo Play. It's something similar, but it's more like in a video game setting. But it's a lovely manga, and I actually advise you to read. It's also Korean and all, and it's nice. Though the character is much more cocky and all. You can also check out this webtoon, Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is a lovely webtoon. Yeah, it's also like, I just love this stuff because it's at the same studio that made it. I think Redeye Studio that made it, and they make amazing art style. I just wish to see more from them. They can get more people. Maybe I should make a video about them. I'm kidding. But if it is requested, I will dig into it and make a video about it. Until next video, later, alligator.